Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I hope everyone is well, wherever you may be. Okay, just quickly, good news about this Andrew and Virginia. Lots of us were getting really tired of this news. There was always every single day they are talking about Andrew and Virginia. Every single day, week in, week out. So it's just a relief. Finally, this has come to an end. But obviously leaves a lot of questions than answers. For instance, why pay a settlement to somebody you have always insisted you never met? If you have never met this woman, why are you paying her 12 million? It doesn't make sense. I think probably also it's about time that we, as a country, we had a discussion about why money, the taxpayers' money, is being diverted to someone who is already so rich, someone who is a billionaire.
United States by Virginia Giuffre. Now it's on all the front pages. As you can see, this morning we just about had enough space for it, really, including overseas with the New York Post calling the whole thing the clown. Of course, that's a take on Netflix's The Crown there. Well, Miss Giuffre had been suing the Duke of York, claiming he sexually assaulted her on 3 occasions when she was just 17. Allegations he strenuously denied then and actually still denies now. A letter filed to the US District Court just yesterday said the Duke and Miss Giuffre had reached an out-of-court settlement for an undisclosed amount. We haven't heard anything from the palace yet, have we?
Hi, CL, no, and don't hold your breath. Buckingham Palace not getting involved in this case and hasn't been involved for a couple of years, actually. They defer all inquiries to the Duke's legal team, and they are not speaking. We just have, as you've been going through that court document from New York yesterday, but Buckingham Palace just refers royal correspondents like me back to the statements last month when the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, surrendered all of his major patronages and military associations and agreed to stop using HRH, His Royal Highness, in public. So he is essentially a private citizen now. In terms of the funding, which you were mentioning there for this settlement, some figures around £12 million today. Well, some of that could come from the sale of the Swiss ski chalet, which has been going through recently, but also you mentioned his mother, the Queen, who of course has vast and very lucrative land estates. She may well be funding or will be paying for at least some of this. Whether you consider that to be public money or not is up to your politics, really. I mean, it's land and estates that the Queen holds and profits from that, but it's not from taxpayers' money. That's the point I'm trying to make there. In terms of settling out of court, a lot of speculation that Charles and William have been driving this, and that William really drove the process last month, where the Duke stepped back from public duties when he said he wanted to fight this case in court. And there's no way back for him now. Charles and William have made it very clear that he is now not using HRH, and I think the only time we may see Prince Andrew, and I think this is understandable, is at the end of next month for the service of Thanksgiving for the life of his father, millions of pounds now, to a woman that he previously claimed he'd never met.
At one point he said he'd actively wanted to represent himself.
He wanted the jury, he wanted to stay in court.
But of course this is a man who has access to the most expensive and best legal advice in the UK, of course, and I'd imagine after the Newsnight interview they probably thought, no, that's not a good idea. But exactly as the correspondent said there, this has resulted in paying £12 million to someone he said he'd never met. So to me, it's an admission of guilt. You know, which
although
will
there
now
was
never
no admission
be...
of guilt.
And we'll never know. He hasn't made an admission of guilt, and that hasn't been proved, and we will never know. I personally, and it's only my opinion, and this isn't a legal statement, I think if you pay £12 million to someone that you say you've never met, that's very, very bizarre.
Which is pretty much what many people online were saying.
We was never going to go to court for 2 reasons. One, because as Kathleen pointed out, it's the Queen's Jubilee, it's a platinum Jubilee year. In any case, would have overshadowed that. More importantly, if Andrew had gone into the dock, he would have been asked questions about the Queen and what she knew about this. We couldn't subject our 95-year-old Queen to that. The second reason, and the most important reason for him, is that Victoria Griefer has been represented by a lawyer called David Boyce.
You mean Virginia? Sorry, Virginia.
Sorry, Virginia.
Sorry. No,
I can't do it. Virginia. She is being represented by a legal colossus, a guy called David Boyce. He is one of the best litigators in America. This guy is hired by multi-billion-dollar companies. He had said that he was very much looking forward to confronting Andrew in court about his denials and attempts to blame Miss Griefer for her own abuse. And what he's alluding to there is Andrew had there'd been an article in a newspaper a few years ago that referred to Miss Griefer as a money-hungry sex kitten. Andrew wanted to use that, and he was attempting to blame her for her own abuse. Now, David Boyce would have made mincemeat of Andrew. We saw how badly he fared in the Newsnight interview, an interview he thought had gone staggeringly well.
I know.
And it was a car crash. And so the lawyers were never going to allow him to go to court. All that nonsense 2 weeks ago, I demand my day in court, that was the arrogance.
I think it was a lead up to this.
Oh,
do you think it was all part of it? They always knew that they were going to settle.
The lawyers knew, but I think Andrew
the Queen and Prince Charles got together, didn't they, and just said, right, we've got to nip this in the bud.
Well, hence they knew. I think the Queen and the Queen and Charles knew they were going to settle because they took all his titles off weeks ago, so they knew this was coming. But the arrogance of Andrew to imagine he could go to court and actually come out of this okay. The man that they call him the buffoon in the palace staff because he's not very bright. The idea he could stand up to this man in court is beyond.
Anyone with a sense of justice, I think, feels slightly conflicted about this, you know. And it's that privilege, that power, and that wealth, and that is the difference.
And it really appears, no matter what side people were on, it is that confliction that does come across.
He thought,
if I, was a...
Surely, I think because of a lot of the stuff that's been thrown at the royal family in the last 2 years, I don't think people are actually getting the seriousness of this. This is the Queen's son paying a fortune to settle a sexual abuse case against a 17-year-old. This is a scandal of epic proportions in royal history. And for him to stand up in a courtroom and be questioned about his sex life, it was never going to happen. The Queen and the monarchy wouldn't have allowed this to happen.
Take a look at the front page of the Telegraph this morning. Now, it's saying the Queen is expected to help him pay the costs, reported to be in the region of around £12 million. That's a lot of money. Although the actual figure hasn't been revealed. The Telegraph also reports that the Queen has privately already funded the Duke's legal fight, which, again, we're talking more millions of pounds. And she's thought to be partly paying for this settlement as well.
Said over and over again, and I'm really not disagreeing with you, saying he's her favourite son. He's her favourite son. She's raised a monstrous boy man. She should have absolutely dealt with him a long time ago when everybody thought was really cute. He was Randy Andy and Air Miles Andy and bullying the staff. You read about the teddy bears and how he bullies people over how his teddy bears are sorted. And his mother still hangs on to this bond with him. I mean, he has magic, obviously, because his ex-wife is the same. But Emily, I think the people of York have the right